Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Get the station. We thought it was get a stimulus check. I gotta have it. $1,500 if you get a shot. They'll have that herd immunity will be done in 3 months. We'll be back to normal. Ready. We're all ready.
Commissioner Saxon, can you hear us all right?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great.
All right. Well, I was just saying, coming up steps, said usually I don't have to dress up to come, but tonight I did. Yeah. Sit up here behind the counter, behind y'all, I have to dress up a little bit. All right. Yeah, they said that Mark Saxon wasn't going to be with us tonight.
I'm right here, Amory.
Oh, where you at?
To your left.
He's on virtual.
I got a call, went down and tried to get a chicken yesterday, but I had 2 dogs I raised to get the chickens and they bark at them. And one of the dogs.
Mark had left. Now he's been sick.
Yeah, he was bloody on.
Man, he's had all kinds of issues.
Well, I knew he did when I've seen him. He just didn't look healthy, but that's been several years ago. He's just been in bad health.
And I think this last bout was cancer.
Was it? Okay. Well, I hadn't seen. I see him occasionally, and I mean, even before I retired, Wesley always looked like he was, something going on.
What was his wife?
Not that nice.
All right, welcome to the Oconee County Board of Commissioners meeting. Today is Tuesday, November 24th. Special welcome to Commissioner Amory Harden. Congratulations on your win. We look forward to working with you in the future. If you're joining us virtually, hopefully using a smartphone or computer to make comments or ask questions during the public comment portions of the meeting, please use the raise hand feature in Zoom. In just a moment, we're going to ask you to stand for a moment of silence, and after the moment of silence, we're going to ask Commissioner Chuck Horton to lead us in the pledge. Thank you. I did want to mention also that Commissioner Mark Saxon is joining us virtually tonight. First item of business is to approve the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
Second.
We have motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item is statement and remarks from citizens. This is for anything that's not on our agenda for tonight. Anyone virtually?
Sure.
Thank you. Any statements or remarks from commissioners?
No, sir. Mr. Chairman, I want to thank you and Justin and Kathy and the entire staff for getting me oriented. Appreciate all their efforts, and just glad to be with y'all on this side of the desk instead of that side. Thank you.
Very good. Do you have a couple? Oconee County, the Keep Oconee County Beautiful Commission received the 2019-20 Governor's Circle Award. We're very proud of their efforts. They've been working really hard. They've had improvements in litter, decrease in litter in the county for the third consecutive year, and increase in beautification projects and providing middle and high school students in public, private, and home schools with opportunity to take an active role in local environmental issues. Also, early voting will be held first 3 days of yesterday, today, and also tomorrow, 8 to 5 at the Oconee County Civic Center. And just a reminder, government offices will be closed on Thursday and Friday of this week to celebrate Thanksgiving. First item of business tonight is to consider a resolution declaring the results of the SPLOST 2021 election held on November 3rd, 2020. Daniel?
This is a technical part of being prepared for the bonds if and when we get to those. The vote was 16,102 to 7,811. We're not getting involved in any national politics here. We're just certifying the SPLOST election. So the Board of Elections has already done this. So a motion to approve the resolution.
Thank you. Any questions of Daniel?
No, sir.
Any public comments? Anyone virtually? All right. With that, we'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the resolution declaring results of the SPLOST 2021 election held on November.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries. Next item is the first quarter financial update. Wes?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Board. Welcome, Commissioner Harden, to the Commission chambers. Tonight, I'd like to present the financial update for our first quarter of 2021. This financial period begins on July 1st and ends September 30th. That's our first quarter of our fiscal year, FY21. I'm pleased to report before I begin that Oconee County is financially sound as we stand here tonight. Economic indicators for this quarter are general fund revenue and expenditures. See if we can get this advanced. All right. There we go. General fund revenue and expenditures, sales tax, SPLOST loss, and water resources. Those are our three general economic indicators that we'll discuss tonight and go into a little bit of detail on that. Our general fund revenue for the first quarter, our budget for the fiscal year of 21 is $31,247,892. That's a balanced budget on revenue and expenditures. So we'll begin by looking at the revenue. The revenue is $5,070,682, and that's 16% collected. So just a little bit of commentary on that for the first quarter. Our revenue streams are cyclical, so meaning that some of the revenue comes in the second and the third quarter. For instance, most of your real property tax, it comes in the second quarter, so around 17 million comes in the second quarter. And those property tax notices are not due until November 30th. So lots of revenue coming in now in the second quarter. So we're well on track, and there's no concern there at all. There are the line items for the general fund revenue that come in for the general operation of our government. And you can see the different agencies there, departments within the government, and the revenue that is collected and the remaining balance that is due. So you can see year to date that you have 5 million there, and then 26 million remaining to collect. First quarter expenditures, again, that same 31 million budget, and our expenditures are around 6 million. So we're 19% expended, and that's right where we want to be. We've had several ongoing projects going on, and I'll discuss those when we get into the SPLOST and the local option sales tax portion of the presentation. Our actual expenditures were really similar to what they were last year. There's a line item detail of the general fund expenditures. I won't go into too much detail here, but you can see that everyone is represented. And the 6 million year-to-date expenditure there at the bottom of the second column, 25 million remaining to expend in the next 3 quarters. Update on our capital project. These are capital projects that the board approved back in June for this fiscal year that we're in now. And so as we discussed some things back during really the beginning of the COVID, some of the projects were on hold, and so we're still evaluating that. But Public Works excavator was a large purchase, and we do anticipate probably releasing those funds for purchase of that equipment. The IT capital is in progress. The IT capital consists of an aerial flyover and a couple of domain servers for GIS and property appraisal. And Parks and Rec equipment is also on hold until January, but probably be releasing that money soon. Other capital projects are vehicles for the road department, fleet maintenance, Parks and Rec, and Parks and Recreation. And these go with our reserve study and following a program with mileage and equipment hours. And so those have been ordered. There's a long lead time on some of these, and we went ahead and released that. Sales tax update for July, August, and September. Those are the months for the first quarter. So you can see where we are on FY20 in that column, 1.7, and you can see how well we're doing in FY21, 2,037,000. So down at your bar graph down on the bottom of the slide, you can see we're 32% collected on our goal of 6.3 million for the fiscal year. So we're ahead of where we need to be for the first quarter. So we're very pleased with that outcome. Same thing for the SPLOST, similar results. SPLOST, special purpose local option sales tax, taxes a few things differently than local option sales tax. So your numbers are a little different, but you'll see the same trend, and it's again good news. So you know, a normal perfect collection would be 25%, so we're ahead. And there are many reasons for why that is ahead, but you know, that's our good news for Oconee County, and the online retail sales tax, and the current pandemic has not slowed the economy down. Stock market went over 30,000 for the first time in the history of this country today. So all good news on that front. SPLOST project completion. So we have a couple of older SPLOS, and we're just about done reporting on those. So the 04 SPLOS is 99% complete. There's 122,000 remaining in that, and that is really already programmed. It just needs to be finished up in the next 30 days or so. SPLOS 2009 is in the same situation as well, and so that's the remaining balance there, 177,000. And there's actually an ongoing project that once it gets bid out next week and complete over the winter, then that will also, those funds will also be exhausted, leaving only the 2015 SPLOS, which expires next October 31st. And I'm going to go into great detail here on what's remaining on that SPLOS. So this is the SPLOS project status on the 2015 SPLOS referendum projects. So you can see the GEO bond debt retirement. And so we've made all of our payments on that. And that is for our part. And you can see our water and sewer, and we're at 65% completion on that. We've got some ongoing projects this spring, and so that'll be on track. Then you can also see road, streets, and bridges. And that project, we've already encumbered our roads list for the spring and our paving list. So it's about 96% spent or encumbered, which meaning that it's planned or under contract. Farmland protection is 100%. Fire station, we've bought our fire trucks and our equipment. The Civic Center is just about complete, 100%. And that project has been a nice addition for the community. Historic, scenic, and facilities, that's the project I was referring to that's ongoing and will be let out next week. Library facilities, again, for the Watkinsville Library, so you have 83% of that funding left, but there's a plan in place for that. General County facilities, 91% completed. Animal control, nice project down there to expand the animal control and give it a facelift. The economic development facilities is one of the ones that is remaining, but again, we've got almost a year left on this, or exactly a year. And recreational park facilities, 100% completed on that. Law enforcement facilities, they bought their 7 vehicles and got them outfitted recently, so they're 96% completed on that. And then our technology facilities were 61% complete on that. Most of that's going into your judicial court system. So that is a quick update of where those approved referendum projects are. And then we'll begin the collection of the recently passed referendum in 2021 in November of next year. Other SPLOS projects that were programmed for this year, our HVAC system is in progress. Our Bogart Sports storage building is in progress and just about complete. The courthouse HVAC system has been ordered, and that is off of our reserve study, and that's a major project. Mars Hill recyclable trailer for one of our collection sites, spring 2021. Our Axe building renovation up in Bogart, that is completed. And our fire station number 5 addition is very soon to be completed. I got in progress, but it's probably 90+%. And we have a looming fire truck coming in very soon. Our SPLOS projects, our TIM plan, that's our transportation plan, our road paving plan. So that's 1.6 million is what's planned for this fiscal year. That's in progress and it's encumbered and under contract. Our WASI plan, also same thing. We're expanding water lines and systems. The fire engine, we just talked about that. It's in progress because it hasn't been delivered, and they don't get paid till the truck is delivered. Animal services facilities in progress. You can see the dollar total there. Our court system, law enforcement vehicles is completed. Historic properties is, again, that'll be let out next week. And then our administrative building. And so there's some design plans and some engineering work that they'll be done this spring. On to our water resources department, our revenue. Their budget is 10.2 million. The revenue collected is about 3.163. Again, ratepayers of people that are using that water are on that. And that's 31% collected. So they're well on track as far as their revenue projections for fiscal year 21. And then their expenses, 4.147. So they're 38% expended. And that's a little higher than what it normally is, but they bid off on a couple of projects early in the spring. Our Caldwell tanks, our southeast pressure zone improvements, a water tank, and also they had a debt service payment that was due in the first quarter. And so that kind of skews that number a little bit, but they're really fine with their expenses. Finally, for them, they were funded a couple of vehicles for replacement units for their fleet, and those are on hold till January. So we'll discuss that over the holiday, and then decide whether we're ready to release that, which we probably will be if the numbers continue to go the way they're going. That concludes my financial update for the first quarter. If there are any questions, I'd be glad to answer them at this time.
Does anyone have any questions of Wes? Thank you, sir. Our next item is discuss the Farmland Preservation Committee recommendation for FY 21. Mr. Ransom, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening. How are y'all doing? Here to discuss our rankings as well as request a match from SPLOST funds for fiscal year 2021. That's when this will get closed. However, it'll probably go into 2022 for the actual closing. So even if SPLOST funds don't start rolling in until, a year down the road, we'll still have plenty of time, I believe, for it to take effect. Looked at two really good farms, both of them located on Collin Ferry Road this year. Both had really high ranking scores. We looked at the Alan Powers and Claire Milton farm, and Alan and his son Will are here with us tonight. We also looked at the Stephen and Paula Nedza farms, both of them, very scenic in those areas, and they meet all the criteria that we're looking for as far as what we want to conserve. The scenic beauty of Oconee County. They're working farms. They've been in the county for generations. The families have. The ranking process that we're using is the ASAPL ranking process, which goes along with the 2018 Farm Bill, and that's a statewide ranking system. So we rank them within the county to figure out which one's our top property within the county. Then we send that to the state, and they get ranked against the state as well. I think both of these would stand up very well in the state. The Powers farm was our #1 rank, and the Nedza farm was our #2. But once again, both of them they were neck and neck, and Powers beat them out this time. One thing that really helped the Powers farm, and this is kind of critical in all conservation easements, or one of the main things they look at, is adjoining properties. If you can link several properties together and create larger contiguous pieces, that's a kind of a multiplier in the ranking system. And there's already 2 properties that are conserved on that one property near the Powers farm. So this will link 3 together and make a pretty large contiguous property right there. So that helped out a lot. And like I said, I think we would close this in late 2022. It takes a little while for the state to get their stuff ranking, and their window for applying for this is coming open soon. The NRCS hasn't given us an exact date, but we expect it to be any day now. And once they open that, it'll be a 30-day window, and that's when we'll submit our portion of it, and they'll take a look at that, and then it'll go on through the state. Y'all have any questions about the farms or how we ranked it or some of the things we've looked at?
You want to have any questions there? Thank you very much.
Thank y'all. Y'all have a good evening.
You too. So we're estimating now SPLOST 21 will bring in roughly $600,000 for farmland protection at the 80% mark. So this farm will not be funded till FY 23, which gives us a lot of time to collect on the current SPLOST. So for FY 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, and 28, there'll be roughly $100,000 available each year to allocate. If they don't use all that in one year, it'll just roll to the next. So I feel comfortable with us designating $100,000 available for that for at the time it's closed. It'll come back before us as a budget approval and a future date as well.
That's right. And I wanted to add too that whatever y'all allocate to match, that is another multiplier that goes into the ranking system at the state level. So obviously the Powers is the highest in the county, but that will help them out at the state level as well. Whatever money gets matched here, And it'll also reduce their burden for applying for the program as well.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Be all right to put this on consent agenda?
Yes, sir.
Any public comment on this item? Anyone virtually? No, thank you. Our next item is discuss improvements to solid waste collection sites and landfill. Jody?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Just real quick tonight, we want to talk about the solid waste sanitation improvements. And this goes right along with the strategic plan that the board identified, and updating the solid waste plan was one of the items identified. So we've been looking at it, looking at different site improvements, looking at potential updates to the solid waste ordinance, and trying to do a comprehensive look at the sanitation department to see what improvements could be done to ease the citizens, ease the use by the citizens, and also make it easier from the staff standpoint, dealing with the traffic coming in and the citizens. And so tonight, really wanted to focus on the site improvements, and then it's kind of a three-phased approach. We'll have the updates to the solid waste ordinance would probably come back before the board at a later date, probably closer to the first of the year. And then also the inert landfill side, the permitting there, looking at some options. We have Precision Planning doing the survey there, staking out the inert landfill area, and that was required by our EPD inspection this year. So we're getting that done. And then also, once we have that and kind of see where we are, then getting with the design consultant that designed the inert landfill permit area, and just see what options we have. And those options would come back before the board at that time as well. So just going on to the site improvements, that's an aerial photo of the landfill as it sits today. On the bottom of the photo there is the closed municipal solid waste side. And I think we stopped collecting municipal solid waste about 96, 98. So that side on the bottom side is the municipal side. So we're really not doing anything there. And then on the top side where you see the open dirt there, that's the permitted inert area. And then we have the scale house, the dumpsters there kind of in the middle of the picture. That's where the citizens come in and dispose of their trash. And you see we had two rows of dumpsters, and the ones on the top side were a little hard to get to. They were at ground level. And so what we've done is a few improvements to low cost, but also trying to get some bang for our buck. A couple of things we've done in 2020. One was construct a cul-de-sac turnaround outside the gate. That helps if somebody comes to the landfill on a day that it's closed. Before, they couldn't turn around, so they had to back out or turn around in the neighbor's driveway, and I don't think he was real fond of that. So we've done that, added that, and had a lot of positive feedback from the staff at the landfill. And it also helps. We have some citizens that, as they go through the scale, even though they could go both directions, they prefer to go out, turn around, and come back in, go across it one way, because it puts the driver's side on the window, their window on the scale house side. So it makes that a little bit easier. So they have had a lot of positive comments there. And then the other thing that we had done was we purchased some concrete blocks, and then we acquired some from the city of Watkinsville as well. And so we built a retaining wall and raised the road up there to where citizens can either dump on either side. And raising that up, it's easier to dispose of the trash into the dumpsters instead of trying to take it in the open gate or something like that. And also the wall where we've done that, it allows us to put, I think, about 3 more dumpsters. So we could get a total of 6 on that side and 3 on the other side. So it expands the capacity a little bit there. Some of the site improvements that we were looking at and wanted to discuss with the commission and was the attendants down at the 441 landfill. They need some small tools, blower, a rolling magnet, some sweepers, shovels, commercial brooms, just some small tools, small equipment, and that will help them do their job a little better. Another thing that we wanted to do was, if you go to the sites, and I'm sure all of you have been there, you notice the signage is a little dirty, and it's not uniform at every site. So we want to take a look at that and really come up with new signage and maybe even color code it based on, whether it's the hours or the informational, and kind of, my thought is kind of using the MUTCD color codes for if it's regulatory red, or either red or black and white. If it's a warning, yellow. If it's informational, blue. If it's directional, green. Just kind of going in that route. And then just updating it at all the sites, all 5 of the sites, the 4 collection sites plus the 441 landfill sites, so that as a citizen goes to either 441 or Mars Hill or Butler's Crossing or wherever they're going, they see the same signage and make it more uniform for their ease. One thing that we've looked at, the scales, we have 1 scale, and so it's bi-directional. So you come in and go out on the same scale. Newer landfills today have 2 scales. They have an inbound and an outbound. I wouldn't recommend that here. It's a huge cost for what we're doing. If we were building a new landfill, then yes, definitely. But here, I think we can put a traffic signal on each end that's red and green, and make it easier for the attendants to direct traffic, and also make it easier for the citizens because they have a visual cue of, okay, green light I go, red light I stop. Our scale equipment is outdated, and the company is having a hard time supporting it, so we also want to replace that equipment. And then the concrete wall at the dumpsters that was built when the landfill was there, we've got some erosion on the ends of it, and then I've got a picture here I'll show you in just a second, but there's where it stopped, there was some metal, kind of a metal ramp put in there, but over time, as people have backed into it and things have run over it, it's kind of rolled up, so it's a little bit of a safety issue with the metal edges. And so we'd want to replace that and have a turn-up wall that's a little more safer and make it a little more functional. And then also, one thing that we had discussed was at our metal pile, we're constantly pushing the metal up, and we have, gravel in the metal, and trying to work on that, and looking at a concrete pad to minimize the gravel loss, and also to fence the recycle area. As part of our solid waste ordinance, scavenging is prohibited at the landfill, and we do have some occasions where people are coming in after hours and taking stuff out of the landfill. So we're looking at some fencing to help deter that as well. But here are some pictures kind of showing kind of the areas that we were talking about. The one on the left is the scale going in. As you can see on the left side of the stop sign between the building and the stop sign, that is the scale. And so traffic inbound and outbound goes across that scale. And so that's where we would want to put the red light, green light on each end of that. And then also, that's the scale equipment's inside the trailer. And the second picture there is, you can see what I was talking about with the metal that's kind of ramped up there. On the far end, it's kind of rolled up more. So we want to correct that and make it more user friendly. The third picture shows kind of the erosion at the end of the wall. We want to address that as well. And then the fourth picture is the metal pile, showing kind of how we push it up and delineate it. And so the pad and the blocks will help delineate the area. And right now it just kind of grows because people don't want to back all the way in there. So they dump it out here, and then we'll have, the pile will grow, and then we have to push it up. And in doing that, we're collecting some of the gravel with it as well. And so the estimated costs on all of the site improvements are there. And so those are estimates. We haven't, we have, like on the concrete wall, we did get a price on it. The concrete pad, we had a price on it when we were looking at the budget. And then the scale equipment is an estimate from the vendor. And the rest of them are estimates. And so, with them being estimates like that, I did include a contingency in that fund. So as I mentioned, we do have some other items that would be coming back before the board, looking at the fees and possibility of increasing staffing as part of the 2022 budget, and then reviewing the solid waste ordinance and recommending revisions back to the board. So those are coming up. And so that's kind of an overview of where we are from a sanitation and solid waste standpoint. So I'll be happy to answer any questions from the board.
Any questions from the board?
I got one.
Yes, sir.
You kind of addressed it. I was out there a few Saturdays back, because I had to make catching up on lost time and had to make several runs out there. But one thing that I noticed, and they were busy that Saturday, they had cars backed up all the way to 441. I mean, because I was looking, my wife was with me, and fortunately, we get in and the attendants were doing, I think, the best they could. Some people had questions, and cars were coming in, but I would like us to look hard, and I'll take your judgment on whether we need that second scale entry and an exit, because there's not a lot of queuing room on those busy days, and I don't know how many busy days we have like that, but 441's unforgiving.
Sure.
Those trucks are coming in, and you got a lot of folks bringing small trailers and stuff like that. So it is a concern. If we had more queuing area,
right.
We just have to wait our turn. But anyway, that was. But they were doing a good job, and it was, well kept. But that does concern me, that safety issue.
Right. We can look at that and we can put some numbers together of what it would cost to add that second scale and see where it was. It may be cost prohibitive. But
yeah, we can
at least look at it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I think the red light will help a lot. I think that's where we get a lot of our issues there is, and they can actually control, if they see it backing up to 441, they can let an extra car come through.
Right.
I'm like you, I was out there back in the spring, and my first load, the dumpsters were empty, and my last load, I barely found room in one.
And COVID was not friendly to us at the landfill, because people were home, they had nice weather, and there were a couple of months there, it was very, very busy down there. And so our attendants did the best they could, but we had more people in and out during that time than any other time, I think.
Yeah, I know that the Saturday that I don't know that one person could have handled it. I mean, they were both.
And that's something with the staffing. We want to try to get at least one more person out there on the Saturdays, on the peak days, to, if nothing else, be out on the site and make sure people are putting their metal in the right place, putting their recycling in the right place, doing what they're supposed to. So.
Hey, Jody, this is Mark Saxon.
Yes, sir.
Listen, I went out there too. I can't remember when it was, and I spent a couple hours out there. I didn't take any trash. I just went out there and sit and watched and observed. I'm not sure you mentioned it, but have we looked at enclosing the porch. That is something I noticed was a big deal. I mean, weather could be a big issue when it gets really cold. They have to go in and out of the trailer to process the payments. And I was wondering if there's any way we could change the porch itself to make it more efficient for them just to sit there at a window versus having to go in and out and, carry a card in and carry a card back out. And it just seemed to be a little inefficient.
We haven't looked at it, but that's something else we can look at.
But I appreciate that. I just thought it looked, like I said, they have to go out there, walk back in, process it, and then walk back out on the porch. And it just seemed to me if they could get a window that was a little closer, it would sure like make a lot of things a lot easier for the person doing that.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions or comments? So the funding for this would come from fund balance. If it's all right, we'll put this on consent agenda for next week.
Yes, sir.
Any public comments on this item? Anyone virtually? Thank you. Next item is discuss the 2021 meeting schedule for the Board of Commissioners. Everybody's been issued the list of dates. The only thing we might have to change, depending on whether ACCG has some meetings, they haven't scheduled those out for the second half of the year. There's one in particular that usually interferes with the October meeting. So if that, once we figure out that, we can just change that meeting later. Any questions or comments on the schedule? Be all right for consent agenda? Yes, sir. Any public comments on our schedule? Anyone virtually? Thank you. Next item, discuss the Board of Commissioners Vice Chairman schedule for 2021 through 2024. We just rotate that around. You got the list there and see the schedule. Unless somebody wants to change spots with somebody, I think we're. Any requests there? Be right for this to put it go on consent agenda as well.
Yes, sir.
Any public comment? Anyone virtually? No. Thank you. Our next item is discuss the 2021 alcohol license renewal applications.
Good evening, Commissioners. We have once again gotten through our renewal process for the year, and thanks again to Tracy Bailey. She's done a great job getting all that together for us. Just a quick overview. We have received 17 renewals for grocery and convenience and/or convenience stores, 20 renewals for restaurants, and we had a couple of wholesale renewals for a total of 39. We had one of our licensees that did not renew, and we had one. Of course, it was the Golden Pantry in Bishop because it was destroyed by fire. They cannot renew right now, but will of course be able to renew once they reconstruct. This is a financial impact for our grocery and convenience stores of $17,000, restaurants of $50,000, wholesale $2,000, for a total licensing fees for 2021 of $69,000. We would like to present all of these to you. We've given you a spreadsheet. And we'd like to present all these to you for renewal for next year.
Any questions of Kathy on these?
No, sir.
Be all right for consent agenda?
Yes, sir.
Any public comment? Anyone virtually? Thank you. Next item is discuss the 2021 alcohol license applications for Johnny's on Highway 78 at 1110 Tallis Street.
Yes. This is a new alcohol application. It is for 2021, not the current year. They wanted a little more time. We appreciated them coming in early to take care of this. The registered agent is Mark DeWitt, and he has had his RAS training, and the application's complete. It's ready for 2021. His licensing fees for 2021 will be $3,000 as he wishes to do wine, beer, and distilled spirits.
Any questions of Kathy on this one? No, sir. Be all right for consent agenda?
Yes, sir.
Do we have any public comment on this item? Anyone virtually? Thank you. We do have need of executive session to discuss land acquisition and personnel.
Make a motion that we
adjourn to executive session for land acquisition personnel.
Second.
We have a motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right, we need a motion to go back in regular session.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We have no other business, so we need a motion to adjourn.
So moved, sir.
Second.
We are adjourned. Thank you very much.